Residential studios in the historic Boston store. Your news talk leader.
WJT Erie. If I could just hold back the water, or maybe stop the hands of time.
And good evening and welcome back to Working Hands Radio. I'm your host, Phil Kerner. I'll be with you for the next hour. And that was some local music by a guy named Ron Urose in the vehicle. And Ron's actually a plumber during the day. So that kind of fits into our motif of Working Hands Radio. A big hello to everybody listening here in Erie, Pennsylvania on WJET 1400 AM. A special hello to everyone catching the program on Facebook live tonight. Now, you need to turn the volume down on that phone because I can hear it. There we go. Thank you. So as you can see, I've got the one and only Queen with me tonight. She'll be monitoring social media, and she's already made a big splash. And we'll come back to her in just a second. So as I said, Heidi will be helping out tonight with the social media for you guys on Facebook, watching this program around the globe. Please check in. We'd love to hear where you're from. It's a lot of fun. We do that every week. And I think last week we had some California, Texas, and then we had Australia and Colombia. So it was very interesting. So once again, we're here in downtown Erie, and we broadcast right here from the historic Boston Store Place, which used to be the Boston Store. And that's what it looked like if you're watching online. The big clock there is the only thing left. The escalator's gone. It's all gone. And again, if you're online, you can see that photo. That's what the Boston Store looks like today. And in front of that building, you'll see a little white car. That's where our studio is. So we're sitting in here tonight, ready for your phone calls. The number here is, 451-1400. I don't have to say the 814. That's because we have a new addition tonight. We have an 800 number. And if you're calling from outside of Erie, 1-800-365-5002. So the purpose of Working Hands Radio and why we're here is to create a forum where people who work with their hands can get together and share their stories and connect, converse, and inspire each other. Working Hands Radio is not only a weekly broadcast here over the airwaves here in Erie, Pennsylvania, but it's also broadcast globally via the internet on Facebook Live. And again, my name's Phil Kerner, and online, a lot of people know me as the Tool and Die Guy. But I'll be your host again for the next hour to share the stories of people that work with their hands to bring more connection and education and understanding to our communities. The reason I created this program is I'm on a quest to share those stories of the folks who work with their hands, to give them a voice in the work they do every day to build American goods and products. And I still think building stuff is cool. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome back on to the airwaves. Heidi and I did a radio show down here, 2006?
A long time ago.
A long time ago.
I know. That's, I'm nervous now being back on the air.
I know. I asked you
with the Tool and Die Guy.
I know. I asked her if she was nervous about today. She says no. Then about 5 minutes before we came on the air.
Yes. And you were already yelling at me that I had my volume up.
Well, Robert did the same thing. I just don't pay my help enough at this program, apparently.
I know.
Because I remember when I pulled in, I said, make sure your volume's off on the phone.
No, I'm happy to be here. It's fun.
Well, it's awesome. So Heidi will be again here to help out a little bit tonight.
So talk to me, please.
Yep. Go ahead and comment away, and again, call in. We love the call-ins. That's why we're here. You know, I've said this before. This is actually program number 8. And I remember my first caller on my first program back on January 9th. And we were on about 18 minutes. And it's funny when you're in the radio studio, they've got the big clock, right? And some guy called in. It was our first caller, and we were very excited for that call. And he gets on the radio, and I said, welcome to Working Hands Radio. And he says, this is a really awesome program. He says, I don't get it. He says, how come I've never heard of the show? How long have you been on the air? And I said, 18 minutes. So the callers are what make the show fun. You know, I could do a podcast from my house, but that's just me talking to you. And the reason we're here and we buy this airtime with the help of sponsors is for the call-ins, to be able to talk to you guys. So again, in Erie, 451-1400, toll free 800-365-5002. So tonight we've got a really fun program for you tonight. You know, here at Working Hands Radio, we're pro-business. And you know, I've owned my own businesses, and Heidi, through her work in Erie, supporting women entrepreneurs, we're an entrepreneurial family. And one thing I've always said is, you know, once you've owned your own business, and especially with a brick-and-mortar facility and employees, you'll never look at life the same way again. And that might seem like an overstatement until you do it. You know, when you start talking about the taxes, the rules, the regulations, health insurance, benefits, dealing with the bankers, customers, lawyers, and employee issues, it's a lot for anybody. And again, you know, if you've ever thought about starting your own business, we've got a couple great guests tonight, and you're going to get a wealth of information. So feel free to call in and ask. That's why they're here. So our first guest tonight is actually the vice president of manufacturing of one of Erie's premier manufacturing facilities, and has a very unique viewpoint on the trade, technology, and where we're headed next. Our second guest tonight are a local couple who own and operate a local landscaping company. And among other things we're going to find out tonight is how do you really deal with 5 feet of snow in 30 hours. You folks that aren't from Erie, we got hammered over Christmas. And that's a great story. They're going to tell us about how they managed to get that all done. So we're running just a hair ahead of schedule. Heidi, anybody checking in yet on Facebook?
Let's see. We have Bill from Mississippi.
Bill from Mississippi, welcome.
Yes. And Erin Walsh is saying hello to me. That was your guest last week.
Erin Walsh. We've turned her into she's a groupie now.
She's a groupie, but I see there's more people online, so please let us know where you're calling in from, where you are.
That's awesome. So,
yes.
All right, so we'll get the program. Our first guest in here right away. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Captain Brad White here, founder of New England Burials at Sea. Because of our well-respected brand reputation, we are so proud that we've grown from coast to coast as people from all over ask for us by name to use our services. You, too, will be impressed at our attention to detail. Many families say, I didn't know you could do this, where, or how to honor our parents' final sea burial wishes. From ash scatterings to full-body burials, we work with all cultures and creeds and can accommodate families up to 6 or larger groups to 400. Our sea burial tributes are respectful, memorable, and affordable, with prices starting at just under $495. Check out our informative website, newenglandburialsatsea.com, and be sure to ask for our free informational DVD. We'd be honored to be of service to you and your family, for now or in the future. So contact us today. Visit newenglandburialsatsea.com or call 877-897-7700. Again, 877-897-7700. newenglandburialsatsea.com.
Hi, folks. This is Phil Kerner for Working Hands Radio. Let's face it, the last 10 years or so has been one tough ride for American manufacturing. Well, this sponsor of Working Hands Radio has managed to not only get through the last 10 years, but just celebrated their 50th year in business in 2017. Folks, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have to tell you, I've never seen a shop that jumps through more hoops to keep their customers satisfied than Industrial Sales and Manufacturing right here in Erie, Pennsylvania. With over $30 million in equipment on the shop floor, no job is too simple, no job is too complex for ISM. CNC milling and turning, robotic welding, laser cutting, plasma burning, assembly, and powder coating are all done under one roof, which gives ISM a big edge over many companies that might have to subcontract many of those operations out and lose control of the process. Industrial Sales and Manufacturing deals with some of the most demanding customers in the world and strives for continuous improvement on a daily basis. Built in Erie, found around the world. Give them a shot. ISMErie.com. All right, welcome back to Working Hands Radio. This is your host, Phil Kerner. And again, we're here to take your calls tonight, 814-451-1400, 1-800-365-5002. So, as I say in my opening a lot, we all know manufacturing has taken a huge hit in the last 15 years. And my first guest tonight, just like myself, grew up in the trade, absolutely did. And he's got his mechanical engineering degree right here from Gannon University here in Erie. And Charlie's a technology guy, right? He embraces new things, looks forward to things with a positive attitude. So he's also a part of a family-owned business which represents its own set of challenges. He deals with the craziest demands from customers and their ever-changing standards and requirements. And this is a huge plant, you know, over 90,000 square feet, over 100 employees, a ton of talented people. But when you're really stuck, you go get Charlie. So I've been doing this for a very long time, and it takes a lot to rattle me. I've seen a lot after 4 or 5 decades in the trade now. But the very last thing I want to see on any given day is Charlie standing behind me with his calculator. Welcome to the program, Charlie. Good to have you.
Thanks, Phil.
So
thanks for being here. What kind words? Thank you so much. And first off, I just want to say I'm just, so impressed with you and this radio show. I mean, it's unbelievable, the gumption that you had to do this. And every time you talk about it, you light up like a shooting star. And I'm very proud that you just pushed the envelope and went out and did this. So congratulations on doing that.
I appreciate that. I know you pushed the envelope, and in my way I did. And as I told Kyle before the show started, this is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in the trade. And I've done a lot of fun things in the trade, my apprenticeship and the things I build for you guys. But this is a real way for me to give back to the trade and talk to people. So, and it's people like you, though, being on the program that really make a big difference for me. So, you ready for your 10 questions?
Sure, why not?
Okay. And if it's a matter of I guess I have to disclose, I can only go so tough on Charlie because somebody in his family signs my paycheck every week. So
I won't hold it against you, Phil. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah, famous last words. All right, so here you are running this very large company. And I only say this as just a reminder to sometimes myself. When I had my tool and die shop back in the 90s, I think I peaked out at about 45 people. And didn't have a very big staff, but boy, the stress level of running a company that size. So you look at all of the demands, and over the years, I've been with Charlie now for 12 years, and we've had some great conversations every few months about all the demands on your time. As I said before you came on, dealing with the payroll and the health insurance, accounts payable, receivable, employee issues. I mean, I know that it's a merry-go-round. So Charlie Rutkowski walks into ISM every day. What's the first thing on your mind? Do you have a task list, or where do you start?
Well, yeah, I do have a to-do list. It's actually, you say technology, it's always connected either on an iPad, my cell phone, or my computers at work. So, you basically look what are the things that are going to happen today, and just figure out that you're not going to get any of those probably done because something's going to be thrown at you, some curveball, and the things you thought you were going to get done that day, it's going to be pushed to the back burner because there's some things that came up. But if you plan your day right and make some areas where you have to get things done, those are the first things that you get done.
All right, which brings up two questions. How do you ever disconnect from technology? I mean, do you force yourself every once in a while and say, that's it?
Probably between midnight and 5. When
welcome to owning your own business. Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's if the house phone doesn't ring, but R&R, it's very tough. You go on vacation and you try to put it away, but you always have the phone with you. You got to check. Someone's calling you. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I love it. I know my wife, she sometimes gets mad at me, and what a blessing to have her because she has had to put up with a lot over our almost 29 years of marriage. So,
well, it is a lot. It is.
Right.
I'm not surprised that you said that. But luckily, knowing you kind of embrace technology, so that constant chatter is just part of the job.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it was when you're in your business, Phil. It's like you can never go to sleep. You're worried about where's the next job coming from. Are the parts you sent? You're only as good as the last set of parts you sent out. So and trying to make sure that all happens. And we've been very blessed at ISM to have a great team. Yourself, all the people at ISM, we really couldn't do it. We have the best workforce in the world, and I mean, I love going to work every day and seeing every one of them.
Well, a couple questions now. One of the things I say in the opening is I think it's actually on the promo they run for this program during the week. It's been a tough 10 years for Erie, Pennsylvania. And you and I have had this conversation over the years, and we look at the plants that have left and the changing workforce and that. It does say a lot about a company that makes it through this mess of the last, let's face it. I mean, you guys started in 1967. I remember what was the first crash I went through was 87 or 89 or when it was that. And there's been at least 3 more since. And do you guys ever panic this one's really bad, or it's just the business is so well oiled now it's pretty good shape?
Well, I mean, like anything, it's notice if you go back to the last real big downturn was 2007, 2000 or 8, 9, whatever you want to go to. I mean, there was a huge drop in the business, and it was across all our customers. It wasn't you diversify your customer base, and hopefully one's way down, one's going to be up, and level it off. At that point in time, all of them are down. So it's all on how you react to those things, what you can do. to get through them, make some hard decisions, to get through those times, and then hopefully write down a lot of things and learn from the next time it's going to happen, because you never know what's going to happen. It's you know it well as it is, Phil, and it's very tough to even think, everything's going great and smooth, and then all of a sudden you have a customer that comes in and says, you know what? Yeah, those orders that we had that you're building all these parts for, we just lost all those, and we're not going to make them. So now you're thinking that you have to build up and have the workforce and the machines and that there, and guess what? You still have to make the payments on all those machines. You have to, pays for health care and that for all the people that are there. So it's always changing, no matter if the business is one person or 100,000.
I always found the biggest challenge of running a shop, a manufacturing facility, was A, finding a customer, B, finding a customer to let you make a profit, and C, finding a customer to pay you on time. Because that combo does exist. I mean, there are people that want it for nothing, so you take the gamble to get in the door, as they say,
right.
And then and they just used you. I know they just get one of their favorite other shops down, teach them a lesson. That happens. And then, of course, you find out maybe, hopefully not too late, but this work, we didn't quote it right. I mean, there's some issues. right. Yeah, right. We could probably talk about that. Yep. And then finally, you just did $1 million order, and cash flow is king, right? And got to make sure you got the. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you even have to answer this question, but have you ever had one of your customers go bankrupt on you?
Yes, we have. As most recently as a year ago. So, yeah, and it was a customer that was supposed to bring in a lot of work, and we tooled up for that, and then all of a sudden nothing panned out. So it's it's like going to Las Vegas. You're rolling the dice on some of the customers you have, because like you said, all things are going real well, and then all of a sudden, you go to work the next day, and it's like, oh my gosh, you never thought that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. The beauties of running your own business. For those of you online, those of you listening on the radio, I'm on the this is Working Hands Radio. I'm Phil Kerner, and we've got Charlie Rutkowski in the studio with us. The phone number here is 451-1400, and toll free 1-800-365-5002. So, anyways, now we go through the customer thing and that challenge. And then, but I know you really love technology, and we had a brief conversation about that the other day about what's the name of the tool show in Chicago?
The IMTS show.
And you go to that pretty much every year, right?
It's every 2 years.
Every 2 years, and you try to make a trip up there.
I do.
And I guess when you look at the trade now, and you look at the machinery ISM has, do you? I would assume you still go to that because you're inspired by it.
Oh yes, very much so. I mean, if anybody that's either in or not in manufacturing should actually go to the IMTS show, because it's over 1 million square foot of, besides manufacturing machinery, all the peripherals that go with it, all the tooling that's coming out, plus everything that's new. Like the biggest thing right now in the new age is 3D printing. So I mean, the last show was in 2 years ago, and they actually had a 3D printed house. So I mean, those are the things that are coming out there. I mean, 3D printing is one of those technologies that's exponentially going to change the world. It is changing the world now, and from the first time, and it's been out for a long time, printing plastics, and then the embedded plastics with carbon fiber in it, and now you're getting into the metal printing with sintering. We're printing food now, body parts, organs. Those are just the cusps of the thing that are out there that are being done. I mean, you're seeing now that you're able to do airplane parts where you're taking a piece of thin titanium and welding all the ribs on, instead of taking a thicker piece of titanium and machining those ribs out like you and I would do at our own shops. Mm-hmm. So it's inspiring to go see. Plus, when you take that job that you lost the money on, hopefully you can find something up there that, if we get that, that'll probably make money on that job.
Well, it's interesting. Back to the 3D printing. Back in the 90s, we had something, and I always butcher the name of it. What was it called? It was SLRs?
SLA.
Stereo lithography.
Correct.
And it was very expensive and very slow. But, boy, it's still, even at that stage, it was pretty cool that you didn't have to build a mold to get a sample part. At least you could kind of look at a sample part. Mm-hmm. So this is the next evolution in that. And it seems, I know you said it's been around forever. I feel like the public is just now, the last 3 years, kind of getting used to this. Somebody told me years ago, and you've seen an injection mold, that someday they'll probably be able to just print an injection mold, and then you could stamp out the parts. I mean, it could actually get to that point.
Well, they are doing it now. They're, the metal side of printing is there. They're printing exotic materials like titaniums. They're printing tool steels, and then they take those materials and depending on how it was either laser sintered or printed, then put in a sintering furnace to, fill in all those gaps, as they say. They're making stamping tools already out of that.
So you look at the business now as a contract machining center and all the other stuff we do there, fabrication and powder coating and everything. I hate to ask the typical question, where do you see the business in 10 years? But is this emerging technology, as ISM stands right now with, 100 machines on the shop floor, do you see the shop looking a lot different maybe in 10 years as far as that goes? I mean, do people still need parts, machined and turned, or is there something a lot different even in 10 years?
Well, I don't think we'll still be machining, we'll still be turning, we'll be doing that, but we'll be augmenting it with different things, especially like 3D printing. Automation's a big thing these days that everybody's talking about. We've been using automation in the business for over 18, 20 years, from robotic welding to machine tending, and it's getting the people that we have doing other things in the business, and that's what I think that what you're going to see in the big change in business today is getting the people trained to do different things that they weren't doing yesterday, and them embracing that, the technology, working side by side with a collaborative robot next to them. That a collaborative robot can get their arm, in a place, and if something happens to him, he's okay. You can take the collaborative. We don't want to let anybody get hurt in a plant. So working with that and embracing that's I think the big technology. Probably the next thing I would think would be IoT, Internet of Things. We're all collecting data all over the place. I mean, I'm sure on this you're collecting how many viewers you have in that. Well, the Internet of Things puts sensors on everything, from saying, in a, maybe a locomotive may have how many sensors capturing how many data points, billions of them, in an hour, then looking at that data to say, what's going to happen with that bearing 14 days from now? You should be replacing it 10 days from now. So those type of things are going to be like big changes, game changers that, what do I need next? How do I want to make this, what's going to change because that sensor's saying something, or, that part in the machine that's going to be done, instead of have someone go over, change that part out, and go over and do something else on another machine, because sensors are automatically telling you to your smartphone, hey, that part's ready, or that needs to be done, or you have banks of 3D printers, and printer 47's done, go pick that part out, and you put all the parts together. So I think you're just going to see augmented different. I think that you're always going to still machine, even a lot of 3D parts, even though they get printed. Some of them have to still get machined because you can't get in a tool and die, you still can't get that surface finish. Right. But I wouldn't put it past that someone's going to come up with it.
Well, as I said when I introduced you, you love technology, and there's a perfect example right there. So talk to me a little bit about growing up in the manufacturing family. I grew up around the shop. The Kerner Tool and Die back in the 60s was the nucleus of our family. And, my Uncle Ed had this great pool up there. Then he built a golf course up there. I mean, it was like Disneyland up there, right? And so your father started the company in 1967, and you're very young. And talk to me about what it was like to get into the trade. Were you always interested in it? I know you became you went to school for engineering, but did you ever think about doing something else besides working in the family business, or was that always going to be it?
Well, I mean,
and I'm sure your dad had something to say about that.
Well, most definitely. Well, I wasn't even born when the business started. I was born the next month it started. Wow. In July. He was June of 1967. I was born in July of 67. So, basically, I mean, I've been working in the shop since I was 11. I mean, I've cleaned bathrooms was my starting position at the plant, and cleaning the offices and working my way up there. And I have to say that was probably the best job I had starting out, was cleaning the bathrooms, because if you don't be able to do those type, and I'm sure you've done the same thing in your own shop, those are the things you have to do. And I've worked my way all the way through, working at probably pretty much almost every machine that we have in the shop, and doing pretty much most of the jobs that we have in the business. But was that my first thing? Correct, it was not. I actually had a scholarship to Johnson & Wales. I was going to become a chef. And right when I was going to pursue that. My father asked me, hey, could you stay and stay in the family business? And, I don't regret it any day. I wouldn't have, met my lovely wife. I wouldn't have met great people like yourself, Phil, and work with, some great people at ISM and meet the people that I have over the years. So don't regret it. Obviously, I can't. It's kind of late now. But
So, talk to me about the chef thing. Are you still? Do you dabble in cooking? Is
yes,
a passion for you?
I do love to cook, but it's like one of those things where by the time you get out of work and it's late, it's like I don't want to clean up. So usually Sundays is my day that I may cook something. Or
all right. So what's your specialty? We need to know what's your specialty.
I love to bake. So
you're a baker. That's very technical, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why I like to bake.
Yep. I never got into. My mother was a wonderful baker, and I never got the bug to learn it. But Heidi's brother's very technical mind, and he likes to bake pies and stuff, and it's very funny. And they're always mesmerized by what I do for a living. I'm like mesmerized that these guys can bake a pie. So it's just weird. I remember, just for some fun stuff, her brother David, who you went to school with.
Correct.
Came up to me one day and says, do you work for a guy named Rob Rutkowski? I said, nope, I work for Charlie, and Jim Sr., Jim Jr., and an Ann. I could have sworn Rob Rutkowski owns this shop. And I said, there's no Rob there. Well, this went on for months, and finally Charlie was walking by me, and I said, who is Rob Rutkowski? And he says, me. So for those people who don't know, everybody knows you as Charlie.
Correct.
Where'd Charlie come from?
So next door, when I was growing up, and I was probably not even 4 or 5 years old, our next door neighbor, Harvey Holberger, God rest his soul, thought it looked like Charlie Brown, and that's stuck ever since. And Charlie really only ever stuck till I got to college. That's why Dave only knows me as Rob. But once I got to college, I was in a fraternity. That was my fraternity name, was Charlie. My wife has never called me Rob or Robert, and the only people left calling is my mother and my sister are probably the only people that call me Rob.
So you embrace that then?
Oh yeah, but most definitely yes.
Because people say I look like Brad Pitt, but nobody calls me Brad.
I will tomorrow, Phil.
Okay.
I will tomorrow.
Please don't. I'm probably never going to hear the end
I'll put
of
that
that
in the
word.
scrum.
I will never.
I never
Thank
heard,
you.
I never
Phil
heard
wants
that
to-
before. Jeez. That's a
Quickly,
new
speaking of the scrum, for those of you who are listening online and in Erie, we do something quite unique at ISM, and I got to give you guys credit for sticking to it. I think we're in year 4 our whole plant is separated into groups every morning at after 10 a.m. for a brief meeting. They're called morning scrum meetings, and there's a small agenda. The shop news is read, and any improvements that we do are brought up. It's a continuous improvement project, if anything. Where'd the idea come from? And talk to me about I have to admit, you have been really committed to this thing for 4 years.
Well, it all came from a book by Paul Akers called 2 Second Lean. And, we've done lean initiatives in our shop for many years before that. But I read the book, and I actually, was at a seminar. The guys at Viking Plastics and Quarry are big proponents of it. So after reading the book, getting on YouTube, looking at some of that stuff, and really, embracing, because the book said you can read the book in 2 hours. It's not that hard. But if you
does it have lots of pictures?
Lots of pictures,
okay,
yes,
good.
Lots of pictures. So
that'll help.
It'll help you. Okay. But if you can get everybody in the plant and take 2 seconds out of something they're doing every day, and it doesn't have to be on a part. It could be something that they do is always having to go find a broom. Finding the right spot for it, or just cleaning up your areas around that, or if you have a drawer, giving them the time to clean out the drawer. I don't know how many people like to go in their house and there's a big messy drawer to go find something. If it's all organized, look at the time it saves you to go do that. So, from that we also have, people can say what do they want to continuously improve. So we besides doing your own 2 second improvements, which is put on yourself to do, it's also is like what can we improve in the shop that maybe you can't do on your own. And we've done hundreds of continuous improvement projects. If you ever come to the shop, we have books on all the items that we've improved, the continuous improvement projects. The greatest people to know where a problem is and to solve it is the people that do it every day. For me to come down there and say you should do it this way and this way, I don't do that day in and day out, and they see all those idiosyncrasies, just like in you, Phil. When you go, if I had this little block that was grounded this height, I can do something outstanding with that. And you go over by your toolbox and you see all these little things that help you in your day where don't want to have to do the same thing over and over, which you can
makes life easier.
Correct.
And I guess in 3 years after this, how many 2-second improvements? What's the total?
Oh gosh, I think this past year, I think we were over 900. I think is what it was.
About 300 a year then.
No, 900 that year. So I think we're probably, they're probably over a couple thousand. I think we've had.
And it, I really admire how you stuck with it. We have a caller.
Oh wow.
So let's see what you have here. Welcome to Working Hands Radio. This is Phil Kerner. You're on the air.
Hey, Phil, this is Frank. I just dialed in to listen to what's going on. I'm able to listen to you live, but I was hoping I could kind of tune in on what's going on.
Okay.
Calling from Michigan.
Okay, Frank.
Former machinist, but I don't know the topic tonight or what you guys are talking about, so I apologize.
Not a problem. I've got a local shop owner on. We're talking about manufacturing in the year 2018. So if you don't have a question, that's fine. Thanks for tuning in. And
hey, Frank, what kind of machinist were you? What did you do?
Oh, I did manual machining, lathes, and mills.
Oh, cool.
And I got into CNCs, but not very much. And I got out in the 90s when a lot of jobs left the United States. I'm calling from Flint, Michigan.
Oh, okay. Well, it was nice to talk to you.
Frank is a regular caller and a regular listener.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Don't want to get off topic, though. As far as, Phil, what is it that I hear you wanting to bring back machining? Is there an idea of what people are coming up with?
Well, that's why that's a great.
Bring it back.
That's a great question. I'm not just here to say we need to bring back machining.
You got a couple.
Yeah, manufacturing, though, is I still think the backbone of America. It's probably going to look a little different in the future than it does now and it did in the past.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons we're here, though, is I like to talk about the history of the trade, as Charlie was just talking about growing up in the shop with his dad. And those are great stories. And we all met some great characters and worked with these great characters. And those are the stories I still want to share. I don't want to be the old guy that dwells in the past. But those were great stories, but I'm also here to like with guests like Charlie tonight to see where we're going next because we want to save what's left of the trade. So Frank, thanks for listening in and thanks for calling in.
Can I call back and just listen? You don't pick up the phone?
I don't know how that works. You can try whatever you've been doing, but I'm not sure if that'll work tonight. I'm not in charge of the actual audio.
I'll let you go. Thank you, gentlemen, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for your call.
Thanks.
All right, so two quick questions. I got to let you go. Let's see here. Do you own any original Charles Schultz artwork? Have you ever been able to get your hands on something cool?
I actually do have one piece that someone found in. They were actually down in Pittsburgh, and it was actually someone that was the house cleaner for Charles Schultz, and he bought it off the gentleman, and I bought it off him. I've never had an authentic, see if it's authentic, but looks pretty close to it. So.
And that's at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice and framed up, I would imagine.
Correct.
Very cool. That's very cool. And lastly, I'm still looking for guests at ISM, and I talked to Gary, and I think Gary's scared of me. So that's for you, Gary, if you're listening. So I was thinking about Zelensky, but then I thought Joe is such a wallflower. He doesn't have very strong opinions on anything. So
no, not at all.
You don't think that would work? Well, I have to tell you, it was we could go on for a half an hour here. I got a couple other guests, but maybe you'll come back.
I'd love to because I just one thing. One of the things that you asked about what's going to change 5 to 10 years. We need to have the kids rethink that manufacturing is cool.
That's exactly right.
Building
stuff is cool.
We've seen such a trade where people, the parents have said that, let's get, it's manufacturing's dirty. Well, if we wouldn't have manufacturing, you wouldn't have the cars you're driving, the iPhones that you're using, all those things, and everything else that's made. The hot dog that you eat from Smith Provision wouldn't be there as if it wasn't manufactured in Erie, Pennsylvania.
You don't want to see how it's made, but
yes, you do.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah,
of course you do. So do I still have a job in the morning? We're good here.
When you show up, see if the door's still open for you, Phil.
Okay, very good. Charlie,
thank you for having me on, Phil.
Awesome.
It was a pleasure.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
So we're going to slide Charlie out quickly, and Heidi, anything to report? Do you want to slide the positions over? You're pretty quiet.
It's pretty quiet for
pretty
right now.
Pretty quiet.
They're so intrigued.
Intrigued. Okay, that's fine. All right, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll roll in our next couple guests. This is Working Hands Radio.
Captain Brad White here, founder of New England Burials at Sea. Because of our well-respected brand reputation, we are so proud that we've grown from coast to coast as people from all over ask for us by name to use our services. You too will be impressed at our attention to detail. Many families say, "I didn't know you could do this, where, or how to honor our parents' final sea burial wishes." From ash gatherings to full-body burials, we work with all cultures and creeds and can accommodate families up to 6 or larger groups to 400. Our sea burial tributes are respectful, memorable, and affordable, with prices starting at just under $495. Check out our informative website, newenglandburialsatsea.com, and be sure to ask for our free informational DVD. We'd be honored to be of service to you and your family, for now or in the future. So contact us today. Visit newenglandburialsatsea.com or call 877-897-7700. Again, 877-897-7700. newenglandburialsatsea.com.
Hi, folks. This is Phil Kerner for Working Hands Radio. Let's face it, the last 10 years or so has been one tough ride for American manufacturing. Well, this sponsor of Working Hands Radio has managed to not only get through the last 10 years, but just celebrated their 50th year in business in 2017. Folks, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have to tell you, I've never seen a shop that jumps through more hoops to keep their customers satisfied than Industrial Sales and Manufacturing right here in Erie, Pennsylvania. With over $30 million in equipment on the shop floor, no job is too simple, no job is too complex for ISM. CNC milling and turning, robotic welding, laser cutting, plasma burning, assembly, and powder coating are all done under one roof, which gives ISM a big edge over many companies that might have to subcontract many of those operations out and lose control of the process. Industrial Sales and Manufacturing deals with some of the most demanding customers in the world and strives for continuous improvement on a daily basis. Built in Erie, found around the world. Give them a shot. ISMErie.com. All right, I'm going to cheat the camera a little bit so we can see our guests. And welcome back to Working Hands Radio. I'm your host tonight, Phil Kerner, and we're going to start off with our second guest. Now, if you don't live here, in Erie, Pennsylvania. Erie's pretty tough on your property, on like your lawn, your bushes, your driveway. Everything gets beat up pretty badly because we have 6 seasons here in Erie. It's winter, spring, winter, summer, fall, and winter. Well, my next guests take care of all that. They take care of the lawn. They take care of the complete landscaping services, which includes plowing. And wow, plowing was the deal here in the last few months. So welcome to Working Hands Radio, Pat and Jessica from Signature Landscaping. Thanks for coming in.
Phil. Thank you for having us.
So let's get started here quickly. That was a massive amount of snow.
You can say that.
That was a massive amount, and I've lived here my whole life, and I can tell you that Christmas Day snowfall, it was just creepy. I just never stopped. And I was pretty much homebound for a couple days. I snuck out a few times very carefully. It was so bad. I remember going down 26th Street and coming back.
On your snowmobile?
Yeah, really. And I had to turn left, and I couldn't get across the middle of the road because it was 3 feet of snow there. So just a little bit. How many hours did you guys work that week, you told me?
Oh, it was crazy. I was over 170 in 11 days.
Over 170 hours?
Yeah.
11 days.
It was something I have never lived before.
And Jessica, you're right there with the whole thing, right?
Well, I can't say that I was there for the whole thing. That would be a lie, but I was definitely there when Pat needed me to be.
Somebody has to hold down the fort.
Somebody has to hold down the fort. That's exactly right.
Yep.
So I guess the funny question is, I think a lot of people, because we just had Charlie on here and invested all this money in this large shop. And I know there's a miscommunication out there that people are sometimes thinking, listen, great business to start, landscaping, lawnmower, weed whacker, and pickup truck, right? So just like we deal with in the machining business, and there's always somebody who'll do it cheaper. There's always somebody that might not do a very good job. So, luckily, winter is just about on hopefully its last legs here. So now comes spring. And over the years when I was younger, I did a little bit of my own yard work, but you're out there, you're buying the fertilizer. Why don't you guys talk to me a little bit about, the difference of doing it yourself? I mean, if you enjoy doing it, I get it, but the advantage of hiring a pro to take care of your property.
Sure. Pat and I spend many, many long hours educating ourselves on the best equipment, the best products that we can use, the best fertilizers, the best techniques. There's a lot to it other than just, buying a lawnmower and a truck and getting out there.
I know that.
And
right.
Obviously you know that,
right.
but our business can definitely be cutthroat. There's always somebody that will do it cheaper.
They say if you make it in Erie, you can make it anywhere in the country.
In landscaping.
Yes.
Well, probably almost in a lot of
in
business.
anything.
Yeah, really. Exactly.
It's a hard market.
So I go, so I feel like doing it myself this year. I run over to Lowe's and I buy a turf builder too. But the big thing is I have no idea what the pH of my soil is, right? I mean, I'm just putting on generic, one size fits all. And you would never do that with something else in your life, but for some reason everybody thinks their grass is kind of, right, depending on the shade, the water drainage, it all changes. So you guys obviously bring a different eye to it.
Most of everything that has to do with plants is circumstantial. And just like you said, the shade, the watering, the availability of sun, the pH of the soil, and all of those things come from education and experience and having, just like you with manufacturing, if you don't know the answer, you know where to find the answer. You know somebody that has had more experience, been in the business longer than you have. So all of those things are huge, and it's just one of those things that you...
Well, it's interesting, as I talked about with Charlie earlier, as a matter of disclosure, I hired these guys a few years ago, and the house I have it's a long ranch, and it had these, what were those bushes? They just call them box bushes? What are they?
No, those were old school evergreen bushes.
Just evergreens, and they were probably original equipment from 1965.
Absolutely.
And they were starting to look kind of bony, and it was time for them to go.
You could hide behind them if you wanted to.
You could. Oh, yeah. It would have been great if I had little kids. They definitely could have hid behind them. But anyway, so we sat down with Jessica and Pat, and they literally got out their pencil and paper and sketched what we needed, and came in a day, ripped all those out. It was like 8 truckloads of bushes, I think, or something crazy.
We brought the excavator for that one.
Yep,
That was a little bit too much for the back.
And completely redid it. I was so impressed at, because, again, you look at the kid down the street that wants to mow your grass. Okay, that's not really a landscaping company or Shelby or Walk. But then you get the big guys, and they don't show up. They're too busy running the business, so they send people out. But when I hire you guys, I get you two, and I think that is so cool. I came home, and Jessica's down there with a shovel planting my new flowers. Pat's out there, doing the bushes, and the whole thing was done. Did we get it done in a day, or was it 2 days?
To completely finish it off, we were there for half of the second day.
Half of the second day, okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I got to tell you, I like dealing with the owners when the owners are doing the work. Now, I know when the business eventually really grows, that might not happen anymore, and you guys might not want to do this into your 60s, right? I mean, I get that point, too. But that's a real selling point for me, that I see you guys out there. Because the guy who's actually working on my lawn, and I see you out there on the mower, too, Jessica, you're actually looking at the lawn, too. You're seeing some weed growth, or you're seeing some bald spots, you're seeing some things that need attention. And that was one of the reasons I hired these guys, is knock on the door and tell me, hey, Phil, we need to look at this area. Because the last guys didn't do that. And I'd always go out there and say, what's going on with my grass, right?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that we pride ourselves on. We're not able to make it to every single one of our customers every single week. It's just not possible for us at this point. But for the most part, we definitely make it a priority
to at least see them once a month, bare minimum, see them once a month, get our eyes, get our boots on the ground, really see what's going on with our customers, make sure everybody's happy, because it's your home, just like every other one of our customers. It's their home, and we understand that.
I also feel like we know our customers, and our customers know us, and I think that's really important as well. I know it's important to us.
Okay, so I'll put you on the spot here.
Yeah,
then.
absolutely.
So I opened the phone book. Does anybody even use the phone book?
I don't think so, Phil.
They still deliver it.
I know, it's very funny. I can't even believe I just said that, because I'm an internet guy too, but I don't know. But I guess that was the old way of looking up. So you get online, and you say, you know what, I need to hire somebody. My lawn's a mess. I've been killing myself. I'd rather play golf this year and hire somebody. What's the advantage to Signature Landscape? Why should somebody hire you guys?
Ooh.
That's a good. Okay, so we're going to have to sell ourselves right now.
Yeah.
Sell away.
Okay, so one of the things that I think is advantageous to hiring us is we really do care about each one of our individual customers. We don't look.
You're not when you're on our list, it is your name. Excuse me. It is not an address that you go to this address and you go to this address. Even the people that we employ, they need to know your name. And every single morning before they go out, we brief them on every single property. If we see something the last time we were there, or if the customers called in, we make sure that they know that every single week, and they need to know your name. So if you come out and you approach them, they address you as Mr. Kerner, or Miss Kerner, or Mr. Smith, whoever it is. They know who you are. They know what is special about your lawn, and they understand too that that is your home. And that's our biggest thing. Is one of our biggest things is that's your home, and you have to show up there every day. They may only see you once a week, but you go there every single day. You wake up in the morning, you look outside, you see that every single day. That's what you pay us for, and that's why that's an advantage of hiring a pro that actually cares about your home.
I'm going to add to that a little bit, is we're not just there to cut your grass. We're there to beautify the exterior of your home.
Nurture your nature, if you will.
We're there to nurture your nature.
Nurture your nature.
First impressions are everything, right, Heidi? And when people pull into your driveway, what's the first thing that they see? The exterior of your home.
Absolutely.
So we want nice stripes. We want well-manicured bushes. We don't want weeds in your flower beds. We don't...
And we'll tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Pat will tell you.
Whether you have a budget or not, we still have an image to uphold as well, just like you do. You want people to drive by and be like, hey, that place is looking nice. Well, we want people to drive by and say, hey, that place is looking nice.
Who does their landscaping?
Who does that?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about the business. Jessica, you founded the business?
I did,
Okay.
yes.
Why landscaping, and when did you found it?
I actually quit college to become a landscaper.
Okay. And so what was the year?
Oh, 2002.
Okay.
2002, 2003.
So you founded a landscaping company by yourself?
No.
Okay. All right. There was an ex-partner involved.
There was an ex-husband.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And we
negotiated out. You ended up with Signature
I
Landscaping.
did, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He it was just something that he didn't want to do anymore, so
Fair enough.
I took it over.
We're an open book here.
We are an open book.
That's fine. So you take over the company in what year then? Were you solo?
2014.
14. So fairly recently.
Yep.
How many employees?
Oh, well.
I know that varies because
it
it's
does
landscape.
vary. Right now, we've got snow plowers and shovelers, so
it goes with the season, and it's such a fluctuating number all the time to say that we employ a certain number of people. That at one point last year we had 9 people, and at another time last year we had 2 people. So that's one of the biggest challenges.
But 9
as
people,
well.
that could be still like 4 crews going out to mow grass. Right?
Absolutely. Well, but we don't just mow grass.
I know that, but sending them out on service calls.
Right.
Okay. So, but was that you quit college to start this business?
Yeah. I was married at the time, and
what were you going to college for?
Elementary education and special education.
Wow. And then you got Pat. It all worked out.
Yeah.
See, special education. she needed.
I know how to manage Pat well.
All right. So, well, just for fun then. So you've got this company.
Yep.
You obviously recently divorced. You're running this company.
Yes.
And then we meet Mr. Wonderful.
We did meet Mr.
Whoa,
Wonderful.
Okay.
whoa! Don't put me on the spot again.
So, how did you guys meet, and where's Pat from? How did you guys bump into each other here?
Oh, babe, I'll let you tell the story and how we
Go
met.
ahead.
Well, we're actually going to make a long story short here, and I've known Jessica's family for more than half my life, so it just kind of happened that when I did meet her, it seemed to be just perfect timing. I believe in divine intervention, and timing is everything. So I was not happy at the job that I was working.
And what were you doing?
I was an electrician at the time. I figured I was going to try something different. I had years of landscaping experience and different career choices in trades, and none of them really worked out, and I always kept being brought back to landscaping. I started when my first landscaping job, I was 17, so I just kept being brought back to it. And then I met Jessica at that time where I was about to just call it quits there as it was, and I guess the rest is going to be history sooner or later.
All right, so you guys have been together, kind of in business and personally.
Yeah,
for
actually.
How long?
It didn't. About 3 years.
About 3 years.
It really didn't take long. It was one of those connections where you knew that there was a connection, you knew it was strong, and it was right, and it just works. So it's not always easy, and
the biggest challenge,
does work.
The biggest challenge is, of course, being in business with your spouse is sometimes business just doesn't go away.
Right.
You guys got to disconnect and find something else to do where Signature Landscaping isn't all you talk about.
No, we don't. We make sure that we have date night, once a week.
Okay.
And, we
does
try
Pat do his sexy dance then?
He does.
He does?
Yeah.
Have you never seen the monkey suit?
No,
No?
maybe later when we shut the camera off.
No, I didn't bring it with me.
Okay, good. So you've got the business going well. Spring's, you guys are anticipating now we're getting very close.
Spring is a very busy time for us.
You got the March, probably April cleanups, right? I would assume that's when we're going to start with that. And then we go into May plantings, right? And then
Mother Nature dictates our schedule.
I get
so
that.
whatever she assigns
probably
us.
the happiest time of the year for you guys is probably mowing, when you're just mowing, for the most part.
Mowing is...
I would think
we're
that's
on the
fairly
fence
easy.
about mowing. There are times in the year where we love it, and then there's times of the years where it's just very monotonous.
Every season poses its own group of challenges.
No rain. I get it.
Timing. And it's a balance. You have to balance mowing grass and doing plantings and doing drainage, and it's just all. Every season has its own challenge.
So the spring's coming. You got your business. You look at your business and you say, "There's one thing I could change about this business, because I am the tool and die guy, and I have special powers. And if I took my royal scepter, which is a combination square, and touched you with that, I could change." Your life tomorrow, for one thing. What would it be? What would you change about your business, or an issue you always have, or something you could change about your business? Can you think of anything else that would pop out?
Yes, absolutely. I know for me, I can't speak for Pat, but I am always looking for somebody who is better than me. I don't know who said it, but you should always hire people that are better than you. And I think we would be very blessed if some of those people could be sent our way.
Okay, so so you are officially saying you're kind of looking for some good people right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
Always looking for qualified help. You can only grow as fast as your employees will let you. You can get new equipment. If you need more equipment to get a job, you can get new equipment. That's the smallest challenge. The biggest challenge is always enough good help and retaining them.
Well, as I said earlier with Charlie, you can, like the tool and die guy, Working Hands Radio, that's my hobby or business out of my house. It's me. And I'm my own boss, and if I don't feel like doing this, I don't have to. But once you hire that first employee, everything changes. And then you hire number two. Because it's amazing. I don't want to say it's a problem, but it's another thing on your plate dealing with employees, because you take on jobs based on your employees, and when they call off or they can't make it in or they quit, it puts your business in jeopardy.
It does, absolutely. And yet you know that firsthand from being in business for yourself.
But you've been so far pretty blessed with your employees, you feel?
We have, and we also have been very blessed, even more than just with our employees, but with our customers and our clients, is that when they understand the position that we're in, and that they know that we're always giving it our all. So if we call them or we don't show up, that they understand something happened. They're not binge watching Netflix right now.
But I can vouch for these guys. We had a special event the last summer, and we needed the grass cut before that event, and what was it, 8:30? No, 9:30 at night you're out there mowing?
I have headlamps for a reason. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but then you see me out there doing it, and it looks good after I'm done. They're adapt and overcome.
Well, quickly, we need to wrap up tonight. So, Signature Landscaping, how do people get a hold of you? Give us some phone numbers, website. What's the best way to get a free estimate, I assume?
Yeah, we do give free estimates. Our office number is 814-897-7876. You can find us on the internet at signaturelandscapeserie.com. And I won't give out Pat's cell phone number.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Or take it from me. You can look at the phone book.
Right.
Yep.
Whatever that is. Well,
or there's always Facebook, which is what we're on right now.
Page,
okay.
Yeah.
Definitely have a Facebook page.
Signature Landscapes.
Signature Landscapes on Facebook.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure having you guys in.
Thanks,
Thank
Phil.
you, Phil.
I learned a little bit about your business. Hope people listening learned a little bit about landscaping and maybe why they might want to get somebody involved with their lawn before it gets run out of control. And then are down at Lowe's trying to buy all the fertilizer, dump it on and ruin it.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't
do
do
that,
that.
Pat says. So, Jessica Harrington and Pat Twining. Twining. I'm sorry. I've never used your last name. I used to call you Pat.
Or Mr. Wonderful.
He didn't like that. See, I'm a quick study. Thank you for being in the
Thank
studio.
you,
Appreciate you, Phil.
Thanks for having us.
Pat Twining. Thank you. Okay,
You got it.
we're going to slide you guys out. Watch the chords, and I think we'll slide Heidi over here when you guys are out. Be careful. It's not that many chords on the floor. You're very welcome. It's a pleasure having you on the air. And I think I'm just going to take a minute here quickly to recognize a sponsor because we're running rapidly out of time. I got to put this up here. This is a pretty good sponsor here. This guy is awesome. You got some comments for me? Oh, quickly, let me just say a quick thank you to Utterly Smooth Hand Cream. And I won't read the whole commercial, but these guys called me after our first program and said, how do we get a hold of it? They called the station, wanted to sponsor it. So this is a family-owned business, third generation, Salem, Ohio. Utterly Smooth. I've been giving out the samples of the hand cream to body cream to everybody who wants it. They all love it. So we're going to get Bill Kennedy on the show either next week or the week after. Great story. Again, they buy all their products from America. They package it in America. They build everything. The product is completely finished and packaged in the United States. So we love that. Utterly Smooth. I think their tagline is don't be fooled by udders. All right, quickly.
So do I have a minute?
We're going to get you on the... All right, so there you are.
Yes. So first of all, I want to say we have so many comments coming in right now about how much they love signature landscapes like we do. They've made such a great... our house looks beautiful because of them.
Yep.
And we have another fabulous sponsor that I want to read her commercial, Marion Taylor with Simple Solutions for Living, and it's so powerful, the work that she does. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Life is about changes. The home that was so perfect yesterday suddenly seems too big, and the thought of moving may seem overwhelming. Perhaps your parents are still in the family home but need help downsizing and you live across the country. Or worse yet, a loved one has passed on and you are faced with clearing out the estate and prepping the house for sale. Simple Solutions for Living is a locally owned and operated business in Erie, PA to help make that transition to a different living situation. They handled it all from beginning to end with hands-on help. So call Marion Taylor, 814-449-5309. Simple Solutions for Living.
Excellent job on the read there. Okay, what do we have? About 3 minutes left here? All right, well, wrapped it up tonight pretty quickly. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Everybody in Erie, Pennsylvania, thanks for tuning in on Facebook Live. Two great guests tonight. Charlie Rutkowski was amazing. Guy's a really smart guy. Got to get him in here again. Maybe we'll bring Pat and Jessica in again as the summer season grows a little bit. Didn't mean that, pardon the pun. But they've got a lot of great experience to give you guys and maybe answer some of your questions on landscaping. So those were two Working Hands All-Stars tonight. Both people work with their hands, appreciate the people who do. So to learn more a little bit about Working Hands Radio, please visit workinghandsradio.com. You'll have access to our previous 7 programs, and this one will be up in just a day or so. I'd just like to take a quick moment to thank another one of our sponsors, Jack Martin, and also Tom Kennedy. Love you guys. They're great sponsors. They jumped on board to be patrons of this program. So again, we produce this program ourselves for the love of working with your hands. Because building stuff with your hands is cool. So I'm also known as the Tool and Die Guy. If you guys are looking for manufacturing lessons, go to toolanddieguy.com. We'll be right here next week at the same time. So tonight, quickly, if you work for a man, in heaven's name, work for him. Speak well of him. Stand by the institution he represents. Remember, an ounce of loyalty is worth a pound of cleverness. If you must growl, condemn, and eternally find fault, resign your position. And when you are outside, damn to your heart's content. But as long as you are part of that institution, do not condemn it. If you do, the first high wind that will blow you away, will come along, will blow you away, and probably you will never know why. Until next week, keep the faith. I'm Phil Kerner for Working Hands Radio.